Rabah, for your blessings, Father, for your grace, your mercy. Total Rabah, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, for you are wonderful and worthy to be praised, O Most High. Oh, Yahuwah, for you are through, wonderful, worthy, glorious, Kodesh, magnificent, powerful, perfect. Oh, Father, you are salvation, our strength, our song. You are Melech Kabod, Melech Haolam, King of the universe. Total Rabah, Yahuwah. Total Rabah, Father, for your Barakot, Shalom, and Ahabah. Total Rabah, Yahuwah. For another MIDRASH, Yahuwah. For blessing us, Father. Oh, for refreshing us, replenishing us, Father. Total Rabah, Yahuwah. You are wonderful and worthy to be praised. Oh, Most High, according to your right rulers, your loving kindness, according to your tender mercies, Father, we pray that you baruch this MIDRASH, Father. I pray that everything that you want to come out, that it may come out, and everything that you want to be stated, that it may be stated, Father. Pray that you baruch every comment, Father. That you baruch everything, every aspect, Father, of this MIDRASH tonight. Oh, Yahushua, I pray that you be in the midst of this MIDRASH, Father. Oh, Father, oh, Yahushua, that everything that you want to come out may come out, that everything that you want to be stated, that it may be stated, Father. Oh, baruch us, Father, guide us, keep us. Total Rabah, for your barakot, Father, for your blessings, your hesed, your racham. Total Rabah, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, for your right rulings, your laws and commandments, for your statutes, for your judgments, for your charge, Father. Total Rabah, Yahuwah. You are so through to us, Father. You're so wonderful to your people, O Most High. You're so faithful to the covenant, Yahuwah. Faithful to your children, Yahuwah. Oh, Father, to the descendants of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You so faithful to, Father, in every way, O Most High. Oh, the Shamayim bring forth your kabod, Father. You're the creator of the universe, Father. The creator of the Shamayim, Ma'im, Eretz, and everything in it. You've created us, Father, shape, form, and fashioned us in your image, Yahuwah. You blessed us, Father, with great favor from on high. Total Rabah, for the rain from the Shamayim, Yahuwah. The rushing of the water of your word. Total Rabah, for your Torah, Father. For your commandments, Father. Total Rabah, Father, for your word, O Most High. Oh, it sanctifies us and cleanses us as we're obedient to them, Father. Oh, Yahuwah. For obedience is better than sacrifice. Oh, Total Rabah, Yahuwah. And heeding better than the fat of rams. Oh, Most High, baruch us to be the people that heed, that shema, that are obedient, Father. Baruch us to be an obedient people. Let our obedience, Father, be as a sweet smelling savor to you, Father. Let it be as a sweet smelling aroma to you, Adonai Yahushua. Oh, Most High, that we may serve you all the days of our life, Father. That we may do your will and keep your charge, Father. That we may walk in the covenant of Yahushua and keep your moving your ways, Father. That we may meditate on your precepts, Father, and serve you all the days of our lives. That we may dwell in your house forever, Father. Oh, Yahushua. Oh, how wonderful are your ways, Father. You are a Dub shepherd. Dub shepherd, oh shepherd of Yasharal. Oh, we baruch your name, Father. Total Rabah, for your barakot. We bless your name, Father. We praise your Kodesh name, Father. We bask in the kavod of your presence, our Most High. Baruch atah, Yahuwah Aluah. For you are Dub and your mercy endure forever. Oh, Father, I pray that you baruch everyone listening in, Father. That you baruch all the mishpachah that's tuned in, Father, listening in. All those who are called by your name who are listening in, Father. I pray for a special level of barakot upon them, Father. Oh, Father, wisdom and revelation may be upon them, Father, from this MIDRASH, Father. May they be able to receive, oh, Father, what you want them to receive tonight, Father. May give them eyes to hear, give them eyes to see, and ears to hear, Father. Give them eyes to see and ears to hear everything that you want them to receive tonight, Father. Oh, Yahuwah, may it be so and may it be established. Oh, Total Rabah, Yahuwah, may it be so and may it be established. Hashem Yahushua HaMashiach, hallelujah, hallelujah, amen. Olam Hudim, La Yahuwah, Ula Yahushua HaMashiach. I am Mispar Hudim, La Melech Musha, Ula Melech Yahusha. Kafel Hudim, La Malka Kayil, Ula Malka Yada. Kafel Hudim, La Rosh Aluf Yithro, Ula Rosh As Yeshayahu. Kafel Hudim, La Hagabira Malaka Deborah, La Gabira Ot, Ula Alufim. Kafel Hudim, La Shalit Ushalita. Kafel Hudim, La Mushalim, Ula Mushala Ot. Special Kafel Hudim, La Ishti, Ahmed Yahu, praise Yahu and Yahusha for her. Hudim, L'Sarar, Bakir Saganim, L'Sarar Bakir Ezerot, Hudim, Lahadarim, Lahadarot, Hudim, Labakir Usarar Hakma, Hudim, Labakir Usarar Yakum Yamin, Labakir Usarar Yakum Ma, Hudim, Labakir Alufim, Labakir Aluf, Laimayot, Hudim, Labakir Usarar Yasim, Hudim. Shalom Aleichem, Lakol HaMishpachah. Shalom Aleichem, Lakol HaMishpachah. Hallelujah. I call that shalom to you. Amudah, shalom and barakot. Anala Yahu and Emunah, shalom and blessings, y'all. Bakir Aluf Yubal, Hudim. Bakir Sargon Manu, Bakir Ezer Hadassah, Shalom Hudim. Bakir Yakum Yamin Yahya, Bakir Ezer Uriah, Shalom Hudim. Bethsaida, Yahu, Shalom. Ima Oriyah, Shalom Hudim. Kum Rakam Yahu, Shalom. Mara, Shalom and Barakot. Shema Yisrael, Shalom and blessings. Shir, Shalom. Yetzar, Shalom and Barakot. Zaria, Shalom and blessings. Natanya Smith, Shalom. Natanya Smith, Shalom. Bathsheba, Shalom and blessings to you. Pedrak Kegman, Shalom. Yirmiyahu, Shamayahu, Shalom and barakot. Na'ala Harris, Shalom. Ari Moshe Yisrael, Shalom and blessings. Ivan Juan Little, Shalom. Ima Yashayahu, Hudim. Kimmy Lamar Richardson, Shalom and barakot, fam. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Shalom. Hope all is through on their YouTube. Shalom and blessings, y'all. Shalom and blessings. This is Mushar Asaph Yahoo coming out of the Austin Assembly. I want to give a big shalom and a hab to my Isha Ahmed, Mushala Ahmed Yahoo. And I want to give a kefel hudim to her. I want to give a big shalom and a hab to each and every one of y'all once again. But let's go on and get it in. We about to begin. So we're going to continue through the Sefer of Qoheleth, the book of Ecclesiastes. We're going to do a couple of chapters. You know, I know it's late, so we're going to do chapters 7 and 8, all right? I know it's a little late. We're going to just do chapters 7 and 8. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Let me share my screen. All right. I think we through. Let's see. Oh, man. Hold up. Yeah. All right. All right. We in there. All right, y'all. Make sure I get everything right here. Testing. All right. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Let's start with verse 1. It says, a through name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by a sad countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. For like the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of a fool. This also is vanity. Surely oppression destroys a wise man's reason, and a bribe debases the heart. The end of a thing is better than its beginning. The patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Do not hasten in your spirit to be angry, for anger rests in the bosom of fools. Do not say, why were the former days better than these? For you do not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is through with an inheritance, and profitable to those who see the sun. For wisdom is a defense as money is a defense. But the excellence of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to those who have it. Consider the work of Alua, for who can make straight what he has made crooked? In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. Surely Alua has appointed the one as well as the other, so that man can find out nothing that will come after him. Verse 15. I have seen everything in my days of vanity. There is a just man who perishes in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man who prolongs life in his wickedness. Do not be overly righteous, nor be overly wise. Why should you destroy yourself? Do not be overly wicked, nor be foolish. Why should you die before your time? It is through that you grasp this, and also not remove your hand from the other. For he who fears the Lord will escape them all. Wisdom strengthens the wise more than 10 rulers of the city. For there is not a just man on the earth who does thub and does not sin. Also, do not take to heart everything people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. For many times also your own heart has known that even you have cursed others. All this I have proved by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. As for that which is far off and exceedingly deep, who can find it out? I applied my heart to know, to search and seek out wisdom and the reason of things, to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, whose hands are fetters. He who pleases a lure shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be trapped by her. Here is what I have found, says the preacher, adding one thing to the other to find out the reason, which my soul still seeks, but I cannot find. One man among 1,000 I have found, but a woman among all these I have not found. Truly, this only I have found, that a lure made man upright, but they have sought out many schemes. All right. All praise to the Most High. So, if y'all have anything, on the live, you already know, you feel free to put it in the comments. We'll try our best to cover all the main comments, and then those on the Zoom, definitely just raise your hand and we got you. We'll let you speak. If you have anything you would like to, add to the MIDRASH. But nevertheless, this is a very powerful chapter. And, it starts off talking about a name, a thub name. It says, a thub name is better than precious ointment. So, man, I just remember, I had got, we was out this past Shabbat, and, man, I had got, a lot of us did, it poured down rain, and so, a lot of the mishpach of the Akim got together, and we were just in the mud, and just helping the mishpach out, because a lot of the people we had, they needed help getting out. And man, it was a whole lot of ants on the ground. It was raining so bad that it was just really wet and muddy. And I remember, man, I got towed up by them ants, man. I think I might have got bit about 20 to 30 times. I don't know what was going on. I thought I stepped in the ant pile, but I couldn't find no ant pile. I didn't know what was going on, but something happened where all that mud and all that stuff, and it was just a whole lot of ants. A lot of people got towed up. But I remember going to a Met. I was like, man, do y'all got some lotion? Man. Because it was just burning and itching all over my feet, man. All over my little legs and ankles and stuff. Because, I have my ankles and everything. I'm like, man, hold up. Y'all, somebody got some lotion. And the Met was like, she had like this little cream or something that she was using for what the other deem, like the, eczema and stuff like that. It was like some prescription cream for like eczema and things like that. And man, she gave me that cream. I put that stuff on my feet, and man, when I tell you how thub that felt, I'm talking about burning, itching. And then I put that cream on, and it was soothing. You know what I'm saying? It was so soothing that I was like, you know what? I think I'm thub. I'm going to go back out with the Akim. I'm going to go back out and try to help, try to do what I can. I didn't have all I had was sandals, so that was tough. But I can do this. I had that cream on. And so as soon as I got back out there, man, them ants was on me again, man. But I like, man, I think I can handle it though, cause I didn't know how to get away from them. They was everywhere. I don't know what was going on, but they was everywhere. So I was just like, you know what, we just gonna roll with it. Cause I need to help them. I need to get out there. But it was only for so long that it was just like, man, I just can't. They were tearing me up. So I went back, put some more of that cream on. And I was through for about another little minute. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so that's the way when it was talking about how a through name is better than precious ointment. Um, think about how soothing the essential oils are when it's on your skin, when it's applied to your skin, when it's applied to you. It's soothing. It also smells through. You know what I'm saying? And it's soothing to your skin. It's soothing to the nefesh, soothing to the soul, and it's a sweet smelling savor. That's the significance of a thub name. It's pleasant, and and it has healing properties. The thub name has healing properties. You get what I'm saying? That's why. And we knew that, man. We knew that our people. One thing about our people, we were big on that. That's not really super big in Babylon. With the other nations, that's not that, at least not with the Western nations. That's not that big. Honor, dishonor, shame. Man, when you're dealing with the West, like the European nations, it's not the same. Like growing up, man, people don't understand why people would take. When you talking about our people, even in wickedness, our people would, for a thub name to have a thub reputation, take penitentiary chances over that. A lot of the other nations don't understand why a lot of our people will be, this is in wickedness, but the root of it is about honor and shame. But our people, man, just from getting disrespected, would be ready to take penitentiary chances. If they feel like someone trying to tarnish their reputation, trying to tarnish their name, that's when people be like, man, nah, he disrespected me. I know back in the day, people would say this. He trying to come for me. He disrespected me, man. Growing up, somebody disrespect you? You got to defend it. You got to defend yourself because it's about defending your name. Like, man, that dude, he said that, he done came at you like that and you don't do nothing, your name is going to be tarnished. People going to look at you moving forward as weak, as soft, or whatever. And so you'll see a lot of times very extreme conflicts will happen over, and then you find out what it's over, and you like, man, that's crazy. What? Man, it was a shootout because dude looked at dude girl. And we like, man, that's dumb, that's stupid. But listen, a lot of times there's more to it than that. It's not about the girl. No, it's about, oh man, this dude, he thought he disrespected me. It's like this dude, he thought I was soft enough to try to come and look at my girl or something. I try to make a, pass at my girl. So, if I don't do something, my name gonna be tarnished. People gonna think I'm gonna get messed with. Moving forward, my name will be that's my name on the line now. I got to do something, and that's when you see these extreme situations happen over the smallest matter. It's wicked. It's very wicked, but the root of it comes from us having this internal. We still have a lot of biblical ways in us internally. It's just perverted. Well, when it comes to defending our name, defending honor, oh, we'll do whatever for that. Even if you got to get killed for it, man, it's better that. Man, we don't understand that. But a lot of our people, they'd rather get killed than to have your name as a byword in the streets for the rest of your life. It's a very real thing that we have to, like, man, listen, when people go and they trying to protest against violence, and say put the guns down, put all this stuff like that. If you're not addressing the aspect of honor and shame, if you're not addressing the root of it, we know the root of it is not keeping the commandments. But the deeper aspects of what drives people to do that, the self-worth, having honor for yourself, having an identity. See, that's why this awakening. Man, look, knowing you that you come from a kingdom of kings and priests, knowing those things. Well, man, look, if everybody knew that, if everybody understood this truth in the communities nationwide, that'll take all that away for the most part. Because then the Thub name would be more about from being righteous and keeping the commandments, from being consistent, from being persistent, consistent, having integrity, being righteous. Those are the things that make a Thub name. Think about what makes a Thub name. Not in the world. In Babylon, making a Thub name, having a Thub name means, you got hands. You won't let nobody play with you. You tough or whatever like that. But in Yahuwah and Yahusha, having a Thub name is having integrity of heart. That's what gives you a Thub name, a Thub reputation. Being consistent, being rooted and grounded, having emunah, being righteous, showing ahavah, being loving, being forgiving, being generous, etc., etc. Says a Thub name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Why does it say that? Why is it lining that up with having a Thub name? I'll submit, because think about this, Mishpakim. When are people who have a Thub name revered the most? Most of the time, it's after one's death. It's after one's death when a person with a Thub reputation is revered the most. Yeah. Most people. That's why you have this new. I hear people saying this now, man. I'm gonna give you your flowers now, man. I'm gonna try to show you, appreciation for the things you do right now, because a lot of times people with a Thub reputation, that don't really come out until after they die. Listen, y'all listen. Hear me out, y'all. Hear me out. Y'all know. Do y'all know that you had people like the prophet Yirmiyahu, for example? You know that the prophet Yirmiyahu didn't get really a whole lot of kavod or respect until after he died. Yirmiyahu didn't really have a whole lot of notoriety or reverence from the people until after he died. That was the same for many others in the scriptures that we read about and we revere and respect, and we're like, man, a lot of them didn't get that. We really revere and respect them because of their writings, but a lot of us, if we was unfortunately in this awakening, a lot of the people in the awakening, if they were living during the same days of those same prophets, they act like they revered so much, they would have been coming against those prophets. Just like the majority of Yasharal was doing during their day. Yeah, a lot of the awakening would have came against Yahusha, y'all. They would have came against Yahusha, a lot of the awakening. You know that's by how a lot of people, unfortunately be moving. And they say that they all about Yahusha, they all about the covenant, all these things like that. But if they were living during the days of Yahusha, they would have been right there with a lot of the people who were coming against Yahusha. A lot of the prophets in the scriptures were not respected and revered until after they died, Ms. Sparkle. Y'all got to let that sink in. Because what you want to do, you want to ask yourself, okay, ask yourself, what side would I have been on if I was living during the days of the prophets? Because the majority of Yasharal were against many of the Yahuwah's prophets. The majority, Ms. Parker. The majority. So what makes you think you would have been rolling with the prophets? And not with the majority who were saying that they were speaking wrong. The prophets were speaking falsely, all these things like that. How you know you would have been following Yahusha when Yahusha was on the Eretz? How you know you wouldn't have been with the Pharisees? Where the majority of Yehuda said that the Pharisees is who the Most High was with. And since the Pharisees wasn't really with Yahusha like that, so was a lot of Yasharel was not with Yahusha. I see the way a lot of the awakening moves. The way they move online, the way they're quick to go hard against people. Or quick to go hard against stuff that they didn't know nothing about. That y'all would have definitely went against Yahusha if y'all were living during that day. It could be because some of the awakening are descendants of the people that went against Yahusha. Yeah, you Yehuda, you the Yahudim. But a lot of the Yahudim killed the prophets. A lot of the Yahudim came against Yahushua HaMashiach. The very one who betrayed Yahushua HaMashiach, his name was Yehuda. It wasn't Judas. That's Greco-English. His name was Yehuda. You know what I'm saying? Bakir Sargon, go ahead and I'll jump back in. Go ahead. I see you.
Musal, Amma Musala, Udim to my Isha, she riding with me tonight. She right here with me. Say shalom, love.
Shalom, Kafel Hudim, Mushala Mushala,
Shalom, shalom.
We in that thing. I like these late MIDRASHs because the children be asleep. But no, I just wanted to. Oh, and shalom alaikum, House of Yahoo. I just wanted to jump in there on the name thing because you hit something huge, just how important the name is because that's how Yahuwah is. You said that it was something that was ingrained in us. It was deep in us. That's exactly how Yahuwah is. You can go through the scriptures. I pulled up a few, but you can go through and find them. I might just shout them out. So Isaiah 52:5, Romans 2 and let me see, Romans 2, 24. It says, "For the name of the Lord is blasphemy amongst the Gentiles because of you." That comes from Isaiah 52. So Yahuwah was like that about his name. Yahuwah was like that about his name. Oh, you want to pull it up? Yeah, it's Isaiah 52, verse 5. This is what Paul quoted in Romans chapter 2. It says, "Now therefore, what have I here, says Yahuwah, that my people are taken away for nothing? Those who rule over them make them well, says Yahuwah. And my name is blasphemed continually every day."
Man.
So Yahuwah's response, in some ways, it wasn't really, he was concerned with us, but when they begin to blaspheme Yahuwah, blaspheme his name, which his name is on us, so they're really connected, that's when Yahuwah got active, even in the wilderness. I think he even told Musa something similar. You didn't revere the people in my sight. So Yahuwah is just like what you were describing. It's always been about his name. He says, "I shall do this for my name's sake." Not because of your righteousness, not because of anything else you did, but for my name's sake that I will do this. So in verse 1, when you were talking about the importance of that, that's huge because your name is going to go before you. My dad used to tell me that before you enter your room, your name will enter it first. And then when you leave this earth, your name will remain. That's why we still say things like, man, Kobe Bryant was one of the best basketball players. Michael Jackson changed the landscape of everything. You have names that still remain in people's houses that have long passed. It's the same thing with Yahusha. So our name, especially with Yahuwah's name being in us, our name has to be, you want your name to be blameless. We also touched on that in Proverbs. I just want to find it and I'm gonna give it back to you. It's let me get back to Ecclesiastes. Give me 1 second. It's Proverbs 22:1. Proverbs 22:1. He talks about it a few times in Proverbs, but this particular one says a thub name. Really, don't even say thub. It says a name is to be chosen rather than great riches.
Man.
Loving favor rather than silver and gold. So a name, your reputation is supposed to be chosen above everything.
Man.
That's why taking a bribe is so it's bad for you. Because if your name is associated with bribes, if your name is associated with, man, I can get this person some money and then they'll do what I want them to do, man, that ruins your name. You can never, ever, ever, you can't purchase a name. You can't buy it. You know how many people try to do that? They even try to do that in the presidential race. They put all these ads out. They try and sell their name, but you cannot purchase it. Because at the end of the day, everybody already know where they are with it. So anyway, I say all that to say that a name is above. It's worth more than rubies. It's worth more than great riches. So we got to be sure to guard that.
Can I say something?
Oh, you want to say something? Okay, I'll jump in that in.
Shalom, Kanye. I just wanted to point out something too in that same verse. Verse 1. I just wanted to point out the Hebrew and how the Hebrew reads. It's very interesting. It's very poetic sounding because so it reads in the Hebrew, it says Thub Shem Meshimin Thub. That's how it reads. A thub name is better than precious ointment. And even when you look at the way that
oh snap.
Yeah, it's Thub Shem Meshimin Thub.
Mm-hmm.
And so but even when you look at the way that it's written, where it says better than ointment, that's one word, that's meshimin. And so you know that ointment is shimin, and it has that, and it has the mem in front of it. And so usually that mem means like that prefix means like from, or like it's a way to like compare something. And so I can even see in this like the comparison of a thub name to the precious ointment as well. And it just reminds me also of the Hebrew word for name, which is Shem, right? Which is the Shin Mem. And and how you have the ointment, which is for anointment, right?
Mhm.
So it's for anointing. And when you anoint something, that means that you consecrate it, you set it apart. And when you look at the Hebrew for the word name, it's Shin Mem. And so that also kind of gives a connotation of really Mem can mean like nations, and it can also mean like blood. And so I could see in that like just the being set apart by blood, or being set apart from the nations. Even in that, a Thub name being a light to the nations when you look at the Sheen. So it's just a lot. Just even in that first verse, when you look at the Hebrew, it's like layers and levels to it. So I just wanted to point that out.
That's dude. Yeah, so it's worth so I went into the breakdown of Shem, and maybe about a couple years ago. And I talked about Shem versus Shemin, which is the Hebrew word for oil or ointment, and how when you look at the Sheen and Mem. So let me see if I can just find this real quick. I might can pull it up real quick here. Let's see what it's gonna be. I think it's right here.
Okay. I think I found it.
Yeah, I think I got it. Yes, sir. All right. So all right, let me just see if I can make it where y'all can see this. All right. So for those on the YouTube, you can see this. That's the Hebrew word for Shem. And so what Bakir Ezra was bringing out was surrounding around how it says a Thub name is better than precious ointment. So that's a Thub Shem. Thub Shem. I think she said Mashem and Thub. Mashem and Thub. Let's see here. Thub Shem, Mashem and Thub. Yep. Thub Shem, Mashem and Thub. And that's the reason why she was bringing that out, so y'all can see is the Thub name, that's Shem, that's Sheen Mem. And then the Hebrew word for oil is Shemin, Sheen Mem Nun. So it's almost the exact same as the Hebrew word for name, but it has the noon at the end. That's what we want y'all to see. The connotation of the breakdown for Shem is about being set apart from everybody else. The breakdown for Shem is about being distinguished, being set apart from everybody else. You see what I'm saying? It's about being set apart from the nations. That's the Sheen means to divide, to set apart, to separate. The Mem can mean the nations, right? It's to be set apart from the nations, or to pull things out of the water. That's Shem. Right. Now, when you look at Shemin, the Hebrew word for oil, then you kind of see a similar thing there. It's about being separated. It's like about separating a seed from the nations, separating the seed. It's setting apart a seed from the multitudes. That's the oil, and you use the oil to anoint. Now this is a big deal, because remember the mem, it means nations, but it also means waters, the waters, right? It also means the waters. And so you know that even in the physical realm, oil it separates from the waters. Oil and water doesn't mix. We all know that, right? If you ever try to pour oil in water, if you ever try to pour oil in the water, what does it do? It separates from the waters, y'all. Oil is set apart from the water. It will never mix with the water. The oil, you can try to take a little spoon, stir it. You can do all that, but eventually the oil always separates itself from the waters, y'all. That's the concept of shemen, the oil. And so then you look at the word for anointing. It's related. It's very closely related. It's I thought I had it on here. It's Mashak or Mashiach. There it goes. Even Mashiach, you have the mem sheen that started off. Still has the mem sheen in there. Or sheen mem is just, flipped. But it still has that concept of something, the waters being separated. Or being separated from the nations. It's that same combination, the mem and the sheen mem. You see the same thing with Moshe. That's his name. It starts with a mem sheen. Mushar, the list goes on and on and on. You can go on and on with that. But the point is, when a king it's time for him to be established. When it's time for him to rule, he is anointed with oil. And that anointing it's about a seed being set apart, because the king in Yasharal, the kingly lineage was based off of the seed, a specific seed, a specific bloodline, a specific lineage. And when someone was anointed, he was of the seed of David. He was of a specific lineage when he was anointed. And an anointing, when someone's anointed to do something, that means they are set apart to do a specific work. Because being anointed is, in a sense, being set apart for something, being set apart from everybody else for a work, being divided and set apart for a specific work. Now, that's what Shem, that's why having a through name is so important. Because the name is what distinguishes you. The name is what sets you apart from everyone else. The Hebrew word Shem, it sets you apart from the nations. It sets you apart from everyone else. That's why your name is predicated Hebraically. We got to think Hebraically. I know growing up, it'll be like, I'm going to name my daughter Mercedes Lachey LeRae or something, Lachey Johnson. And I just like the way it sounds, That, Hebraically, that's not a thing. Your name is attached to your function. That's what distinguishes you. That's what sets you apart from everyone else, is your function. You see what I'm saying? Your function in Yahuwah, though. Your function in Yahusha. Not the function that you think you want to do and all that stuff. No, I'm talking about your function in the Most High. And so, Adam, one of his jobs, the first job that man had was to name things. That was the first job that man had. One of the first jobs, Yahuwah made Adam and Kawah, he made Adam, and his job was to name all the animals. Because when a thing is named, that's the connotation of that thing, that's the dominion. Adam naming the animals was a sign that he had dominion over the beasts of the earth, the beasts of the field, that he had dominion on the arets. That's why when we were in this captivity, the first thing the slave master did was to change your name.
Right.
And they would name you. You see what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying to his name. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know you heard me.
Nah, you through. You through. That's why names are so significant and so important. And to have a through name is really important. That's why the first thing the slave, when we were in this captivity, they were coming for your name, y'all. They were coming for that. No, 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 no. Your name isn't, Shema Yasharal, or I don't know, Yehuda Ben Yosef or whatever. No, your name is Jim Johnson now. Like they were coming for the name because they know the name is attached to your function. Your name is what sets you apart. The nations, in order for you to be a Thub slave, you can't be set apart. You can't be anointed for nothing. No, we taking your name. And we're going to give you a slave name so you'll be a Thub slave. That's why when people go to prison, they take away your name. It's a lot more subtle. It's a lot more, it's not as in your face, but they do the same thing. Well, don't none of the COs and the officers in the jail call you by your name? No, what do? They assign you a number. They take away your name. They say you're inmate number 01234. That's your new name. They take away your name. Because now you're property of the state once you go to prison. Or property of the nation based on whether you go fed or... Keep that stuff in mind. Hallelujah. Y'all have anything else?
On the name or on chapter 7?
Let's do on the name first, and then we'll continue on chapter 7 after that.
Okay. Yeah, I had a real quick thought on the name. So, when you were talking about like when the slaves came over and they changed their name, when the Hebrews came over and they made them slaves and changed their name. Mm-hmm. One thing I remember from the documentary was that a lot of them had names. A lot of them had Yah in their name. Oh. And so it points even more so to your name really being a part of your function and being a part to what you're set apart for. It's being about what you're set apart for. And that's why they changed that. That's why they took the Yah out of their name and gave them their name, because now it's like, okay, now you're my name Johnson, so your name's Johnson, because now you're my property. You're set apart to function for me. And so it just points even more so to what you were talking about.
Yeah, you're not being Yahoo, you Johnson.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that gives a whole new level of understanding to that, to the changing of the names.
Khan, and that's you also see that in marriage. That's why when a marriage covenant is made, one of the things that the bride does or that the husband does is he gives her his name. In a sense, he changes her name kind of in a sense by giving her his name. That's a connotation that, okay, now you belong to me. Mm-hmm. You're under my covering. You belong to me in this covenant. So I'm putting my name on you. So you see that even from the marriage perspective. Yeah. So but yeah, that was powerful, man. Looking at the Hebrew at verse 1. All right, now verse 2. Now, but man, that's real, y'all. But like when you keep reading, it goes into how it says it's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. And so That was interesting. It says, "For that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart." One way to look at this is that it's better to go to the house of mourning than to be doing a bunch of partying. That's another way to look at that. Because there's a lot of issues that can turn into. There's a lot of issues, and you saw that in the scriptures. You saw that when the golden calf was given. When they were offering up the golden calf, and they was like, "Let's have this feast, let's have this party," and they were partying, and the Most High was angry and was about to destroy all of Yasharal over that. I submit when they were partying, it wasn't just no normal party, because they were they were mimicking Mitzrayim, and Mitzrayim had a lot of perversion there, a whole lot. So it probably wasn't just, let's sing joy and have a fun time. It probably was a lot of high level partying, where there was wickedness involved in that. It's better to be in the house of mourning than to do that, because the house of mourning. So the concept of mourning is also being humble. Yahusha talks about that. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the humble in spirit. He was going through that in what the Christians, what they call it, the Beatitude. I think the Christians call it. I don't know if that's actually in the scriptures, but that's what it's called. And so it's some of these concepts, you see this in the Tanakh as well. It wasn't just Yahusha saying this. You can find these things in the Tanakh, 'cause it's from the same Ruach. It talks about how by a sad countenance the heart is made better, and it's talking about how sorrow is better than laughter. But see, the thing is, you gotta, there's a type of laughter where it's just is vain, it's vanity, it's not in the through manner, and it's better to be humble and to be lowly than to be, someone who's laughing in a way that's not through, but a whole bunch of laughter, jesting, making fun of, the list goes on and on. It's about being humble, having a set. It's better to be humble and to be lowly than to be, a bunch of noise and laughing in a way that's not through, mocking, things like that. People who mock laugh a whole lot. Mockers and scoffers, oh man, they laugh all the time. All the time. And it's better to be slow than to moving like that. That's not to move like that at all. So this is real wisdom, y'all. If y'all really, really look at it closely, it says the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. You see what I'm saying? Because, like Yahusha said, blessed are those who mourn. Because mourning is associated with being humble. Fasting is in a sense a form of humbling yourself. That's a wise thing to do that. Because in the house of mirth, a whole lot of partying and enjoying. It's a whole lot of being filled, the lust of the flesh, a whole lot of that going on. Fulfilling your flesh, a whole lot of alcohol, drinking, etc., etc. All that it's better just to be lowly and to be in a house of mourning, where it's the opposite of that. People are fasting when you fasting again is a form of mourning. You're not filling your flesh with all the kind of cakes and drinks and alcohol and partying and laughing and all that. It's the opposite. You're actually refraining from food for a time to dedicate yourself to the Most High. It's better for that. That's wisdom. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth. It says it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. I submit this is all related to each other, because you're going to hear the song of fools in the club. in the parties. You're going to hear the songs of foolish people all in the parties. They're not going to be playing no truth music. Don't let me, yeah. They're not going to be playing, Reclaiming the Throne soundtrack up in the clubs. They ain't going to be playing none of that. They're going to be playing the songs of fools, y'all. You insert any artist that's rapping about abominations, iniquities, murder, adultery, fornication. That's what the songs you're going to hear is in the parties. It's better to be in the house of mourning. It's better to be around the wise and to hear their rebuke than to be hearing that type of stuff, letting that go into your ears. So another way to look at this is better to sit down and listen to a teaching than to be watching the BET Music Awards. I don't even know when that stuff come on anymore. But it's better to listen to a teaching where you might, in a teaching, and there's probably going to be some correction in there, some rebuke in there from wise people. Here it goes. Like the crackling of, verse 6, for like the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. So this ain't just talking about laughing like some people who are like having joy in Yahuwah. That's not what this is talking about. You got to look at the context. This ain't talking about people who are praising and having joy and laughter in the assemblies and worship to Yahuwah. That's not what this is talking about. This is talking about the laughter of fools. Let's see what that Hebrew word is, because that's probably let's see what the one that was. That's the one I think it is. Okay, that's kasil. Then it says, surely oppression destroys. It says a wise man's reason, but that word man's is shown in italics. So it's not really there. Another way you can look at this is that surely oppression destroys a wise reason. And a bribe debases the heart. In other words, oppression can destroy. Another way to look at it is oppression will destroy reasoning. It destroys wise reasoning. Oppression destroys like common sense, wise reasoning. And a bribe debases the heart. It says surely oppression does that. That's why the nations went through great lengths to do what? To try to oppress the set apart people, because they know that can destroy the reasoning that we have. That's why I like listening. The way that we think, that's why it's so important for us to get out of Babylon, to come out of her. When I mean to get out of Babylon, I don't mean physically right now. Right now, I'm talking from the context of to come out of Babylon in our heart and soul and our thought process and perspectives. Because this captivity, the oppression of this captivity, it really tore up our reasoning. Our reasoning is crazy because of this. It's some versions that say something like surely oppression drives a wise man mad or something like that.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
They're saying the same thing. That's what it's saying. It destroys the reasoning. It makes it where they like what's wrong with these folks? Why do they think like that? Yahuwah tries to give us wisdom, and then we throw it away for some crazy reasons because of what was instilled in us through Babylon. But yeah, I'll pretty much stop there. What do y'all have on chapter 7?
I had them same verses highlighted.
Praise Yahushua.
So, I ain't got too much to add to that. But I'll skip down. I want to look at uh, verse 16 and 17 just real quickly. There's a lot in this chapter. There's a lot in this chapter. The value of wisdom. The value of wisdom, man, you can't replace it. Like even with a name, if you can learn to be wise, that'll take care of your name for you. But particularly looking at verse 16 and 17 of chapter 7, it says, "Do not be overly righteous, nor be overly wise. Why should you destroy yourself? Do not be overly wicked, nor be foolish. Why should you die before your time?" Yahuwah was showing me this verse earlier this year because I never understood this verse, and then the Ruach just kind of allowed me to have the understanding, at least part of it. So what does it mean to be overly righteous? Because when I used to read this, I used to think, oh, okay, so that means we can sin a little bit. We can sin just a little. We just can't sin a lot because we don't want to be overly righteous. And I've heard churches say this. They're like, yeah, don't be overly righteous. But that's usually when you correcting I don't want to say correcting the pastor, but I was out there. I shouldn't have been correcting the pastor like that, but he was wrong. So, they'll say, hey, don't be overly righteous. But really what this verse is talking about, it says, don't be overly righteous, don't be overly wise. Why should you destroy yourself? Is a lot of times we can put undue stress on ourselves by trying to acquire knowledge, by trying to be wiser than the time has allowed us to be. I'll give you an example of that. One of my daughters is just a great daughter. She really is. She acts older than her age. She loves to help mom and dad out. Ab and Amma, she likes to help. She wants to be there. But sometimes she can take way too much on herself to the point to where she kind of walk in circles sometimes. That's an example of being overly righteous. Because is it righteous for a daughter to duplicate? Yes. Is it righteous for a daughter to bring the vision of her Ab into the house and to become the vision and to incubate the vision? Absolutely. But a form of that over righteousness can come from taking on too much on yourself at one time. I've been victim to that, where I know people would need prayer for something or want to answer on something or want me to seek Yahuwah on something, and there's a balance to this. I'm not saying this as if it's a black and white thing, but I've had to learn how to balance seeking Yahuwah for answers and for revelation of things versus just seeking Yahuwah for who he is. That's an example of me trying to overextend myself, be in prayer for 6-7 hours, and sometimes that happens. 6-7, that's an overestimation. I would say maybe about 4 hours. At one point, it was easily 4 hours, and it was trying to acquire too much at one time. So, give you another example, just biblically. So, when we look at the Pharisees had these Talmudic laws. So, the Talmud. There were a few versions. The Babylonian Talmud is something that came when our people went into Babylonian captivity. But what the Babylonian Talmud was designed to do was to install a set of parameters or a fence around the Torah so that we would always remember the Torah. But what happened is, in the effort to be righteous, in the effort to be wise, the Talmud became the law. You even read about it in the scriptures. He says, can't remember where it is right now, but he says, teaching my commandments as doctrines of men. I know it's in the Brit one time, and I believe it's somewhere in like Isaiah 6, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but Matthew 15:9. In vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. Khan. See, I'm telling y'all, Mushal, this late MIDRASH, you on to something with this, because she can ride with me on this one. She found that scripture real quick. Praise Yusuf for it. So, to my point, though, An example of that was, for example, they say you should not work on the Shabbat, right? I know it don't say that like verbatim, but y'all been on MIDRASH before, so y'all know it talks about not working on the Shabbat. Then you go to Netanyahu and you'll see he did all these things about people trying to buy and sell on the Shabbat. But when you get to the New Testament, the Brit Hadashah, you don't see it in there, but you'll see Yahusha heals a man and tells him to pick up his bed and walk. And the Pharisees basically accused him of working on the Shabbat. The reason that is according to the Talmud, which originally was actually a really good idea, but according to I'm talking about the Babylonian Talmud. I'm not talking about the Talmud of the what you want, the clear people today. I guess the East people. Yeah, when I ain't talking about their Talmud. That's something totally different. That's way wicked. I'm talking about the Babylonian Talmud that came out of the Babylonian captivity that had the extra month added to the calendar and all those things. But within there, it says that on the Shabbat, you shouldn't carry water unless it fits into a leaf. Again, conceptually is not a bad idea, but when that becomes the law through the passing down from generation to generation, now all of a sudden you stress the people. Mm-hmm. That's what he means by why should you destroy yourself by being overly wise and overly righteous. It don't mean sin a little bit, sin a little here, sin a little there, like I thought it meant. But it's saying, look, man, don't put all these extra laws on yourself in order to keep the law. And we are guilty of doing that sometimes. I've seen people where they're like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go on this 40-day fast, and I'm only going to do food with no salt and no water in it. Like, what are you going to be eating? Yeah, fasting is cool. You want to fast. But, man, you don't want it to be overly righteous or overly wise, because that will destroy you because of the weight of your own decision, the weight that you put on yourself to be righteous, the weight that you put on yourself to be overly wise, overly righteous. That's how the Talmud was established. You even see a little bit of that with King Daud. King Daud, he well, let me change the way I said that. This is what it produces. It produces a pharisaical mindset, which a lot of the awakening has right now. Y'all ever been walking down the street? You got your ZZ on, you know what I'm saying? You got there's two different types. You have the ones that border your garment all the way around, and you have the ones that you can, connect to your pants or something like that. Walking down the street, hey, Ock, where your ZZ at, Ock?
Your fringes.
Where your fringes, Ock? You know what I'm saying? Your fringe, where your beard? Now, look, man, I know this is a sensitive topic for the Hakeem. You've been trying to grow your beard for about 25, 30 years. And the thing is, you be brushing and combing, and it just ain't came all the way in. So, you got the little hair on your chin. I ain't mad at you. But then when you hear somebody say, hey, where your beard at? That can be an example of being overly righteous, because you put burden and stress on the people. Yahushua was like, man, the Pharisees, they sit in the seat of Moses, so listen to what they say, but don't have their same mindset, because they put weight on the people, but they themselves will not lift a single finger to lift it. That's how you wind up destroying yourself. So I connected that to David, because with King Daud, y'all remember he slept with Bathsheba. And then here come Nathan with a parable. Hey, look, man, there's this man that came to town. He was rich. And then he went and took this one poor man lamb, because, the rich guy had somebody coming to town. So the rich guy, instead of using his whole flock, went and got the poor man's lamb. David was furious. Oh, nah, man, that man need to die. He deserved death. Matter of fact, he better give him double what he owed. 4 times. Give him 4 times what he owed. But that can be, that type of judgment I'm not saying it always does, but can come from being overly wise, trying to put too much pressure. That's a little bit of a gray area, but that's another example that came to me. So all that being said, you want to be led by Yahuwah in your acts of righteousness, in your acts of wisdom. Now, what I'm not saying is don't be righteous and don't be wise, otherwise you're going to be destroyed. That's what I thought this used to mean. But no, what I am saying is don't be overly righteous in your zeal. Don't be overly wise in your zeal. My people, he talks about how, oh man, I just lost it. This is in Romans. But Paul talks about they have knowledge, but not according to zeal. No, they have zeal, but not according to knowledge. I said it backwards. They have zeal, but it's not according to knowledge. So in our Romans 10:2, for I bear, let me see that. For I bear them witness that they have zeal for allure, but not according to knowledge. So I believe verse 16 is really more so talking about don't be overly zealous for righteousness or to be wise. Otherwise, you're going to destroy yourself because you'll put a burden on yourself like a 40-day, 50-day, 60-day fast, and you ain't never done a 2-day fast. And then you'll be like, man, this walk is too hard. It's just too much pressure. I just can't handle this walk. It's just too much. It's just too much work. You would just ask too much. No.
You put too much on yourself.
You put too much on yourself. Yahushua even told some people that. So last thing, verse 17. Oh, you had something on that? Oh. So verse 17, do not be overly wicked nor be foolish. Why should you die before your time? I think that's just a warning. I think that one's pretty straightforward. Now again, what it's not saying is only be a little wicked and be a little foolish. That's not what it's saying. I believe what that's saying is when you sin, repent quickly, but don't go into more sin because something doesn't happen to you. That's an example of being overly wicked, nor be foolish. So again, there's just a lot in this chapter, and I even think this is tied into verses 3 and 5 when it talks about balancing laughter with a sad countenance and the heart of the wise and the house of mourning. I think this is all tied together because you have to have a very sober approach to life. It can't always be laughter, jokes, and playing. I was like that through high school, midway through college, just because I wanted to avoid responsibility. I wanted to avoid the serious matters of life. So I made everything a joke. And you know what I did? You hit it on the head. I mocked people. I was pretty, I don't want to say I was through with mocking. That's not functional. I wasn't through, but I was efficient. I was a efficient mocker.
Yeah.
Because I made light of everything. So really life is about having this balance, not trying to be overly righteous, not being overly wicked, not being overly wise, not being foolish, but really just trusting Yahuwah, doing so through prayer and patience. This is the last thing I say because it was one verse that talked about patience. In verse 8, it says, the end of a thing is better than its beginning. The patient in Ruach is better than the proud in Ruach. I'm gonna touch on that real quick. The patient in Ruach is better than the proud in Ruach. Y'all ever been at the place when you've been asking Yahuwah for something, you've been asking your leaders to pray about something, or you've been you waiting on Yahuwah to show you something, waiting on the dream, waiting on the vision? It's critical in those moments for you to be patient. Because if you think you know the answer to what Yahuwah's gonna say before he says it, that's where the pride can come in. So you want to make sure that you are being patient in prayer. Yahuwah, look, man, Yahuwah sits outside of time. He sits in eternity. So don't try and grab onto Yahuwah by grasping for time. Because time is like a river, it flows. Nobody on this call can catch a river. Nobody in history can catch a river. You might be able to stop a river, you might be able to build a dam, but even then it's still going to flow. So you can't really catch Yahuwah by trying to grab onto time. It's better to be patient and wait on the answers. To be patient and be later on, it's going to talk about not being angry, not being hasty. It's better to do those things and recognize that sometimes you're going to come to a point where your season is going to change. And it's better for your season to change than for your season to remain that way, because the end of it is better. But at the end of that season, people get real nervous. They're like, okay, what am I going to do now? Well, man, I'm really waiting on Yahuwah to tell me where are we going to move, where are we going to stay, how are we going to do this? And I understand that those things can build pressure. But if you can set your mind to focus on the righteousness of the kingdom of Alua, it'll help you be patient while you're waiting on your answer. But that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Man. Yeah, that's dude. That's dude. Man, it says, do not say, why were the former days better than these? For you do not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is stewed with an inheritance profitable to those who see the sun. Wisdom is a defense, as money is a defense. But the excellence of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to those who have it. So this is showing that wisdom and money are related to each other. Also, we see that a name and ointment is related to each other. So this is also giving you some parallelisms as well on things that are related to each other biblically. You see what I'm saying? But one thing that we see here that's big is balance. That's what we see throughout the book of Ecclesiastes, or Qoheleth, is that balance is huge. When it comes to Yahuwah, there's a balance in everything. That's why when we were reading the earlier chapters, it talks about how there's a time for everything. There's a time to mourn. There's a time of laughter. There's a time for to reap. There's a time to sow, etc., etc. There's a time for everything. It's this balance when it comes to the things of Yahuwah. Yeah, you can be overly righteous. Like it says, don't be overly righteous, but don't be overly wicked either. Like there's a balance to everything. You see what I'm saying?
That's it.
You gotta be able to find that balance. So this is something I would say a lot. You got one extreme, then you got the opposite extreme. Then you got that balance, and it's like that balance, that's where Yahuwah is at. You know what I'm saying? So you got one extreme, you got the overly righteous, you got, people yelling at you because, your beard, you know what I'm saying, where your beard at, or people like what Bakir Sargon was talking about with the Talmud, people, really going hard on the Talmud. Why did you walk more than 5 steps on the Shabbat? You breaking the Shabbat, Yeah, and you were actually talking about. I knew what you were talking about, but you were talking about the Jerusalem Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud is the one, that's the later version. It's the later version. But yeah, like, man, all these extra things because they want to help people keep Torah, so let's add all these things. And then they turned it into, they start calling that the Torah, You don't eat unclean, but also you don't want to eat with the other nations, even if it's clean food. If you eat with the other nations, then that makes the food unclean, even if it's clean. If you sit with the heathen, or if you eat food but you don't wash your hands, then that food is unclean, even if it's clean food according to Torah. If you don't wash your hands though first, then it was all the stuff that Yahushua was dealing with, that the Pharisees added, using these oral traditions. So you have the overly righteous, then you have the overly wicked. They out there fornicating, adultery, Nah, you can't do that either. No, it's about finding that balance. That's where Yahuwah is at, y'all. That's where that's where the Ruach will help you. That's why I said the road is narrow. You can't go too far. When it's a narrow road, it's a very narrow path. That if you just veer a little bit on the right, you'll be off the path, or a little bit to the left, you'll be off the path. You have to stay on the path, Mishpaka. That's the balance. That's the balance. There's a time for everything. There's even a time to kill, the scriptures talk about. That's why you saw that. You saw it with King David, or you saw that with Yahushua son of Nun, or even Moshe. There's a time for everything. You got Christianity, right? Christianity says, you know what? We're just supposed to praise the Most High. The laws, we don't got to keep the law that's done away with. That's one extreme. Then you have the camps, or maybe we always say the camps as a general thing. I would just say then you have certain schools that be like, man, even if you sit down at the table with someone of the other nations, you just sinned against the Most High. Neither or is through. It's about finding that balance. But nevertheless, if you keep going, it talks about how that there is not a just man on the earth who does through and does not sin. Man, you see that in the Brit Hadashah too. Talks about there's none righteous, right? It talks about that. Verse 21 definitely stood out to me. That was a big one to me. It says, also do not take to heart everything people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. Man, that's a big one, y'all. Some of y'all too sensitive. For real. Some of y'all are guilty of this. It was this talk. Some of y'all might know this dude. He's a Skip, man. What's that dude's name, man? Skip, the sports guy. What's his name?
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp. Told her. So it's this dude. It's a dude named Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? He was well known, football player, played for the Colts, and then he became this ESPN sports commentary, stuff like that. And then he started a podcast, and the podcast, blew up. The podcast blew up. It seemed like it blew up overnight. He had one of the biggest views on one of the podcasts he did when he had the comedian on. I forgot his name right now. Cat Williams. It was like, I think it was last year, he did an interview with Cat Williams, and it was like it broke records. It was like one of the most viewed podcasts in history. It was like millions and millions of views. Because Cat Williams aired everybody out, basically. You know how we be liking that. Our people love that. He just aired everybody out. But the point is that Shannon Sharp, what threw me off was how he literally took to heart everything people were saying about him. He stopped doing that, but in the beginning when he first blew up, as far as the podcast and stuff, every time somebody would say something about him, he would go off the charts. I remember one time, man, one of the comedians had said something about him looking feminine, cause he would call himself Shay Shay, and dude, he was a comedian. He was well known. I can't remember his name right now either. He was in a lot of movies, man. That's why I don't know why I'm just not the name just not on in me right now. He was in Friday. He was in Next Friday, and
Mike Epps.
Mike Epps told her. Man, Mike Epps had said something about him, talked about how it was funny, because you know how comedians will get you. And Shannon Sharp, y'all know that Shannon Sharp went looking for him, flew and went and met.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Man, that stuff crazy. Yeah, he went looking for him, went and met up with him in person, trying to see him.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? There were some other people who said something about him. Then because once you that big, you responding? Everybody started talking about him to the point to where somebody gave him some wisdom to chill out. Cause that's being way too overly sensitive and that's not wise. That is not wise to take to heart everything people got to say about you. If you do that, you will go crazy. People are always going to have something to say. If you take to heart everything people say about you, you're not going to last in this walk.
Oh,
What you going to do when your family members are saying stuff about you, saying that you in a cult, saying that you doing too much?
Mm-hmm.
You done lost your mind, and you trying to respond to defend yourself to everybody every individual who done said something about you. They'll drive you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Do not take to heart everything people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. For many times also your own heart has known that even you have cursed others. You gotta be, that's real. That's real. So again, there's a balance to that too, right? There's a balance to that too, but generally speaking, man, you can't respond to everything everybody got to say about you. It's real through wisdom to learn how to let things roll off and keep it moving. You know what some of the most shalom? You know how to get some of the most shalom you could ever have? Get to the point to where you don't care about what people think about you like that.
Come on, that's it.
Man, there's so much shalom when you get to that point. So all you worried about is what Yahuwah think about you. You just worry. You just want to serve Yahuwah. You want Yahuwah to be pleased. You don't care. You don't care what nobody think about you like that. Man. And verse 26 it says, "And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets." We were just talking about this in Austin. We talked about this in Rosh Kodesh just last night about snares. I didn't realize it was going to be in the MIDRASH. But man, it says, "And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart snares and nets, whose hands are fetters." And if y'all know what fetters are, that's like, it's like almost like handcuffs, stuff that people get tied up with fetters. It's like chains, that tie people up so they can't, so they're bound. You know what I'm saying? It said, man, Shlomo said, man, this is more bitter than death. A woman whose heart snares and nets people, whose hands are fetters.
They don't be believing that.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been talking about this. Like that stuff is real. Like when you talking, man, the nations, they literally use they use women to literally be a snare, to be a trap for Yahshua. They've done that several times. You even see that in the scriptures. Yahuwah says, "Do not join with them in marriage, for they will snare you. They will turn your children away from the way. They will turn your children away from me." That's what I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what it says. Scriptures saying, don't make covenant with these nations. Don't join with them. It'll be a snare to you. Proverbs, Shlomo was talking about the immoral woman, how her way is the way to Sheol. If you join with her, they are snares. That's why Balak and Balaam, they sent their women out there. When they couldn't touch the children of Israel, they sent their women out there to snare the children of Israel. They sent their women out there as like bait. Like, listen, y'all. That's why Babylon is the harlot. Babylon is the enticing woman who's there to snare you. Babylon is the harlot, y'all. Babylon is the enticing woman that's there to snare you and to capture you. But it says, "He who pleases a lure shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be trapped by her." Man. So if you prudent and you please a lure, you moving in righteousness, you will be strong enough and prudent enough not to walk into that trap. That means you'll be at work that woman, that snare of a woman will come up to you, try to make a pass at you, you'll look the other way. Oh, no, I'm through. Focus on your job. But the sinner who already has perversion in his heart, oh, he gonna be trapped by that. Oh man, it's over for him. All right, I'll pray to the Most High. Let's chapter 8 is a shorter chapter. All right, did y'all have anything else on chapter 7?
You got anything?
Yes, on the verse that you were looking at before, it actually made me think of it when you said the sinner who already has perverse the sinner's heart will be trapped by the woman whose hands are fetters. It actually made me think about the verse that you were talking about before about not taking heart to the words that you hear. Where is it? Also, do not take to heart everything people say, lest you hear your servant cursing you. When I was reading that, it made me think about how kind of like the difference between suspicion and discernment, where sometimes because you may have something in your heart already, you can perceive a thing that's not already there. And so when I was looking at the last part, it says, "Lest you hear your servant cursing you," it made me think about, okay, that could be a situation where that's something that you may have perceived as well, that's not there just because of what's already in your heart, because you take to heart, you take to mind and dissect everything that people say.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that that made me think about those two things, those two verses. That's all I had on that.
Now that's real.
Let me I wanted to put that correction out there real quick. So it's the Jerusalem Talmud, because I was going in on the Babylonian Talmud. I'm gonna make sure everybody heard what you said. That one is the wrong one. That one was written after the Babylonian captivity. I had them backwards in my mind. The Jerusalem captivity was written pre-Babylonian captivity, so you'll see some of the laws and stuff were a bit more reasonable, and you still see some of that coming out in the book of Galatians. But just to make sure, I don't want nobody go look nothing up and be like, but Bakir Sargon said we need to follow the Babylonian Talmud. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. That one, yeah, but all praise the Most High. I'm glad you said something about that.
All praise to Yahuwah. Yeah, most definitely. Yes, sir. So, looking at chapter 7. Chapter 7, let's get it. It says, "Who is like a wise man?"
Oh, chapter 8.
I'm sorry, chapter 8, my bad. Yeah, chapter 8, y'all, chapter 8. Who is like a wise man, and who knows the interpretation of a thing? Man, a man's wisdom makes his face shine, and the sternness of his face is changed. I say, keep the king's commandment for the sake of your oath to Allure. Do not be hasty to go from his presence. Do not take your stand for an evil thing, for he does whatever pleases him. Where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say to him, what are you doing? He who keeps his command will experience nothing harmful, and a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. Because for every matter there is a time and judgment, though the misery of man increases greatly. For he does not know what will happen, so who can tell him when it will occur? No one has power over the spirit to retain the spirit, and no one has power in the day of death. There is no release from that war, and wickedness will not deliver those who are given to it. All this I have seen, and applied my heart to every work that is done under the sun. There is a time in which one man rules over another to his own hurt. Then I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of holiness, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This also is vanity, because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner does evil 100 times and his days are prolonged, yet I surely know that it will be well with those who fear Allah, who fear before him. But it will not be well with the wicked, nor will he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he does not fear before Allah. There is a vanity which occurs on the arets, that there are just men to whom it happens according to the work of the wicked. Again, there are wicked men to whom it happens according to the work of the righteous. I said that this also is vanity, so I commended enjoyment, because a man has nothing better under the sun than to eat, drink, and be merry. For this will remain with him in his labor all the days of his life, which Allah gives him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom and to see the business that is done on the arets, even though one sees no sleep day or night, then I saw all the work of Allah, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun. For though a man labors to discover it, yet he will not find it. Moreover, though a wise man attempts to know it, he will not be able to find it. Hallelujah. And so looking at chapter 8 is a shorter chapter, but just one of the things that stood out of just looking at verse 1, where it says, who is like a wise man and who knows the interpretation of a thing. And that's going into the interpretation of a thing is a big deal, because you know, the interpretation comes from Yahuwah, and it's really only Yahuwah's people who really get the interpretation. When you look at the breakdown for the word for interpretation, it's about those of the seed, those of the Most High, who really had interpretation. That's why you see all kings from other nations and people from other nations get dreams. You saw that with Nebuchadnezzar got dreams, visions that were from the Most High. You saw that with Pharaoh. But they didn't have interpretation. Interpretation is a whole nother level. The interpretation can come from Yahuwah, and only is coming from his people, Mishpachim. The interpretation of it comes from his people. I submit that's one of the reasons why Paul was talking about that. In the Brit Hadashah, he was talking about how you need an interpreter for these certain things, and then Paul was like, oh, I wish that everyone could prophesy. You see what I'm saying? Because it was this concept that, man, okay, now dreams, visions, that's stupid too. That's stupid, but man, how powerful it is to have that interpretation, to have that interpreter, to be able to communicate the prophecy on what was uttered, maybe in an unknown language or in an unknown parabolic way. Being able to interpret a parable, you see what I'm saying, on what it really means, a vision, a dream, etc. It says, a man's wisdom makes his face shine, and the sternness of his face is changed. It says, I say, keep the king's commandment for the sake of your oath to Allah. So what I believe this is referring to, that oath is, so the children of Israel, whenever, all throughout the scriptures, whenever a king was anointed, a lot of times they made an oath. They, made like an oath of devotion to the, that they would submit to the king, basically. That's kind of a common thread you would see in the scriptures. I'll, just give a couple of examples. Do 2 Samuel 5. Second Samuel 5, verses 1 through 3, it says, Then all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and spoke, saying, Indeed, we are your bone and your flesh. Also, in time past, when Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel out and brought them in. And Yahuwah said to you, You shall shepherd my people, Yisrael, and be ruler over Yisrael. Therefore all the elders of Yisrael came to the king at Hebron, and King Dawid, Melech Dawid, made a covenant with them. That's an oath. At Hebron before Yahuwah. And they anointed Dawid king over Yasharal. David was 30 years old when he began to reign and reigned 40 years. So you saw a covenant being made with David and the people. You see what I'm saying? It says all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and King David made a covenant with them at Hebron before Yahuwah, made an oath. I submit that's why it says that in Ecclesiastes to basically submit to the king and to fulfill your oath for the sake of your oath to Alua. Another example you see in 2 Kings 11. I just do a cut. Just yeah. I don't, there's more examples than that, but just for time, we'll just do 2 Kings 11 as one. Verse 17, it says here. It says, then Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahuwah, the king, and the people, that they should be Yahuwah's people, and also between the king and the people. You see what I'm saying? This is something that happens where you would see the people would make an oath between them and the king when the king is anointed, that they are basically going to submit to the king. It's basically generally it's more than that, but it's generally an oath of submission before Yahuwah, before the Most High. You see it right here in First Chronicles chapter 29. This is even surrounding Solomon. It says, verse 24, all the leaders and mighty men, and also all the sons of King David, submitted themselves to King Solomon. And I submit, when they submitted themselves to King Solomon, it was through a declaration, through an oath. They said, we're going to do that. Because that was kind of a common thread that you saw when a king was, anointed to be king of Yasharal. So, that's pretty much why what I believe Solomon is referring to here. See, like when he says, I say, keep the king's commandment for the sake of your oath to Alua. Don't be hasty to go from his presence. Don't take your stand for an evil thing, for he does whatever pleases him. This is showing you the significance of a Melech.
That's it. That's it.
And
say that's talking about Alua right there, but that's it. It's talking about the king.
Yeah. Yeah, that's significant. And so, we got to remember, Yahusha is king. And the list goes on and on. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just co-signing with you. If you had more, you.
No, it's on you.
Okay. Yeah, so I pick up just in the next few verses because it says, where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say to him, what are you doing? So when I was looking at this, I don't know that the him here is the king in verse 4. It could apply to the king for sure. Because somebody, you could say, okay, well, they would say to the king, what are you doing? But I'm wondering, because see, this is where the word of the king is. So if the word of the king goes to a place, it has power in that place. And then the person who is enacting that word, who's gonna say, what are you doing? Because he's come in the presence or in the name of the king. And I saw that, like what you said, Yahushua Mashiach, how there are these things that we've been commanded to do. For example, he says, go throughout all the land, teaching them to observe all that I've commanded you, or making disciples of all nations. And it really is talking about the people of Israel that were in all nations, teaching them to observe whatever I command you. Lo, I'm with you always, even until the end of the age. So there's these things that we were commanded to do by Yahusha that we still have authority to do. He says, you're going to tread upon serpents and scorpions. That the unclean spirits are given into your hand. Matter of fact, don't rejoice that you casted out a demon, but rejoice that your names are written in the book of the Shammai. So we have these words from a king that have power. That's the only reason we're able to go out and cast out demons. If y'all had, man, that's a real thing. I don't. It's always hard to know where the nation of Israel, the awakening. I'll say it that way, where the awakening is on. Particularly when you're talking about carrying out the things Yahushua said to do on miracles. The awakening is generally squeamish when it comes to like casting out of demons or healing of the sick, casting out an unclean ruach so that a man may be healed. But this is what Solomon is saying here, that, hey, look, if the word of the king is there, there's power. So when you've been assigned to do a certain thing, who gonna tell you what are you doing? Look, man, we've had that happen. We'll be in the middle of a deliverance, casting out an unclean spirit, and they, what are you doing this? No, you can't, what? No, this ain't no conversation. Not about to have no conversation with you about to come out. But I know it's late. I won't give people nightmares, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna go too deep into that. But my point is, where the word of the king is, there's power. And nobody can say in my opinion, this is saying to the one who is acting out that charge, what are you doing? Because you've come in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And then I have 5 and 6 highlighted here. He says, he who keeps his command will experience nothing harmful. And a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. There's something here when he says nothing harmful. I think there's some understanding to gain there, but for the sake of time, I'm just talking about part B of that sentence. And a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. This is something that I've learned over time, particularly watching you move, Mushal. But there's always a time for any judgment, any word. Our culture, our people, we've talked about this many times on the MIDRASH, how we tend to say whatever come to our mind when it come to our mind. And we're going to speak our mind when we got the thought. But that's not wise, because every word is like a seed, and every seed has to go into the ground in the right season. Because if it doesn't, then when the fruit comes forth that's supposed to be nourishment, it's going to die. For example, if you waited till this month to plant watermelons, you might be in trouble. I don't think that's going to work. You put the seed in the ground. Okay, so you went out there, you put the seed in the ground. That's a word. You gave the ground a word and said, grow watermelon. If the ground is stube, then it's going to bring forth the fruit from that word. But because of the environment and the culture that the ground's going to be in a month, 2 months, when the watermelons really begin to come forward, the fruit that was supposed to be nourishment is going to die. So to translate that to like non-parable form, you can have somebody who Most High gave you a word for. He gave you something to judge, and judge don't always mean bad. So what's the word here for judge, actually? Let's see. Okay, so this is the word mishpat. Okay, so yeah, no, that's actually like to pronounce a judgment. Okay. It's not always a bad thing. It can be thub, because you have to judge between thub and ra. But whatever word that you're getting ready to give, you want to make sure that it's the right timing to give it. And you can only know that through prayer. Because when that word is supposed to bear fruit in somebody's life, they need to be in the right environment to cultivate it and to receive that word when it grows fruit. Especially when you have people who are generally pretty thub. If they have thub soil, if their heart is ready to receive a word, you have people who follow you as a leader, as a father, as a husband. Let's talk about husbands real quick. If you got a thub isha, you have to be careful the timing of the words that you give. That's something I had to learn the hard way. She can tell you. She said right here. I'll give you a quick example. I'm gonna tell on me. So we had just gotten married. We were I don't know, we were probably in year 1 of our marriage. And my Isha can sing a little bit, you know what I'm saying? She be singing. See, she smiles. She know where I'm going with this. So y'all look, it's year one. We've been married for 13 years. So I don't know Yahuwah at this time. But I was watching a football game. I was sitting on the couch. We ain't had no children, just me, her in the house. She's still in honeymoon phase. I'm in Monday night football phase. And she wanted to come sing Mariah Carey. So listen, she said she's trying to serenade. You trying to serenade me? Well, I don't know. So if you know how to sing a little bit, Mariah Carey, you got to belt out all her notes, all of them. She don't have no quiet notes. She full voice, full time. So I'm watching the game, and she come trying to serenade me, full voice, full time, no falsetto. And I'm like, what did I say? I can't remember what I said.
I don't remember.
You remember what I said?
It just shut me down.
I think I may have yelled stop or something like that because she was so loud. And I'm trying to watch the game. I bet my team was losing. You know what I'm saying? But I had yelled stop or something like that. Boy, it was that was that may have been our first argument in marriage. I'm not sure. But my point is that wasn't the right timing for me to say that. Now, I didn't want her yelling in my ear, but that wasn't the right way and it wasn't the right timing to say that over. And as we progress in marriage, I've learned that you always have to pray for the right time to give a word, because when you have a Thub Isha, her soil is going to be ready to receive your seed. Her heart's going to be ready to receive your words. But you want to make sure you give them to her at the right time. And you have to allow Yahuwah to show you when that right time is. Verse 6, because for every matter there is a time in judgment, though the misery of man increases greatly. What I understand this verse here to me is that it's not going to always, the right time has nothing to do with the state of the person. I learned in church that you have to tell people the truth, but coat it with chocolate. And what that produced in me was people pleasing. That was not the right way to go about doing anything. But it's really about praying about the right time to speak a word, whether that be to your wife, whether that be to your children. And the right time is not because they're in the mood to receive it, but all because Yahuwah said, go say this thing. We have times like that in marriage, even today, where, and you correct me if I'm wrong, love, but I think she probably does the same thing too with me, where there's a certain time that the Most High wants her to give me a word, and it ain't based on how I feel. It's not based on what I'm doing at that time. It's based on what Yahuwah wants said in the right season, in the right time. Let me. Nah, that's it. I'll come back to 15. I was gonna say something on verse 15, but I believe in chapter 9, he's gonna get a little. Yeah, chapter 9, he goes into more detail. So just a little prelude for next week. So I'll just say something real quick on 15. It says, "So I command enjoyment, because a man has nothing better under the sun than to eat, drink, and be merry. For this will remain with him in his labor all the days of his life, which Alua gives to him under the sun." So if Alua allows me to see next week in chapter 9, my hope is to touch on this, because he's going to go into the details of what this looks like. What do what you eat, how do you drink, and who do you be married with? Because these are the fruit of the labor that Yahuwah has given mankind. These are the things that we're supposed to rejoice in. It's really not supposed to be this. I know how it's gonna sound, y'all, but the things that we are commanded to rejoice in, I say it this way, just for time. These three things are the things that we're commanded to rejoice in: eating together, drinking together, and being merry together. Again, chapter 9, he'll go into the details, but anything outside of that, it's okay for you to find happiness in it, but you don't want to find all your joy in that, because everything outside of these things is going to fade. I'm telling you, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what you have, these three things, eating, drinking, and marrying. Now, I'm not, okay, let me give a disclaimer. I'm not talking about those extreme situations where they don't have food, they don't have drink. I know that's prevalent in the world, but I'm saying where somebody is established, where a family is established. These three things you can find. You might not be able to find football. You might not be able to find your favorite sporting event. You might not be able to find Nikes or Jordans, but you're more likely to find food, drink, and being married with somebody. But again, that's chapter 9. Did you have anything though, love? No? Okay. I think that's all we had, Mushaw.
Dude. All praise to Yahuwah. That's dude. Man, y'all bringing it out. Y'all bringing it out, man. This Bakir Sargon and Bakir Ezra combo is crazy.
Hey, man, we out here. Them children out of there, so we out here.
All praise to Yahuwah.
I say I learned timing from that situation, too.
What you mean?
I said we both learned timing from that situation. I learned not to serenade you while you trying to watch football.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say nothing. I did feel like that was a little bit selfish. like you yelling in my ear.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's dude. That's dude. Now that makes sense though. The wisdom that it takes to really just to learn how to as far as the timing on even when it comes to bringing out a word or anything of correction or anything like that, because that can mean all the difference in the world. That's why I think it's chapter 3 or 4. It says there is a time for everything. It just is. So what that also means is that that means there's also times where it's not time for that.
Right.
And so you always wanted to be able to discern the times when it comes to everything. That's one of the parts of being able to find that balance. Like, when it comes to laughter, you ever had known somebody who they just play too much?
Yeah.
They just play too much. You don't even really want to like be around them like that because they play too much. They don't know. Like they don't have that discernment to be able to know when, okay, this ain't the time for that. And so you just be like, man, I'm gonna just kind of keep my distance because they don't really know how to discern when it ain't time to be. This ain't the time to be joking right now. They play too much.
Trying to watch a serious movie and they in the movie theater laughing.
Yeah. And so, it's just about being able to discern the times. And I was thinking about in chapter 7 when we were talking about the name in verse 1 when it says the Thub name is better than precious ointment and the day of death than the day of one's birth. And how we were talking about the importance of names, and then you were bringing out Bakir Sargon about how that's how Yahuwah is, how Yahuwah is serious about his name. There's scriptures that talk about how he do this for his name's sake and different things like that, and how not to take Yahuwah's name in vain. That's big. Like, and then when Yasharel moves wrong, in a way that makes Yahuwah's name look not Thub, y'all. That's like Yahuwah, like that's big in Yahuwah. I remember when Yahuwah was gonna destroy everybody, and Moshe was like, man, Yahuwah, but if you do that, then the nations will say you brought the children of Israel out just to destroy them. Mm-hmm. Y'all notice that Yahuwah wasn't like, I don't care about that. What you talking about? No, the scriptures basically said that Yahuwah, he heard the words of Moshe and actually moved accordingly. Like it was almost like, yeah, okay, y'all, right, Moshe, okay, you got a through point. The nations would say that. And so could it be that one big reason why Yahuwah preserved Yasharel during that time wasn't really about Yasharel, it was for his name's sake? Yeah. Like, man, like, That's Yahuwah. And I can tell you, as someone who's been married for a long time, that it's not a whole lot of things that's worse than having a wife being married to a female who makes your name look bad. You're married to a woman who shames her husband. Because the wife is supposed to be an extension of the husband. It's supposed to be a reflection of the husband.
Right. His name is on it.
Man, that's it. His name is on it. Like just like Yahuwah said, I put my name on you when he was talking about Israel.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's his Isha. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's the Isha, Yasharel, Israel, the bride of Yahuwah. And we've seen this, like if a wife, a married woman going and shaming her husband in the public on purpose. I'm going to expose you. Woo. Now, listen what I'm not talking about. I'm not referring to abuse. I'm not referring to no stuff like that. You know, that's different. That's another story. You know, someone being physically abused, you need to put it out there. You need to talk to somebody, get help, things like that. But no, I'm talking about, man, just they getting into an argument and the wife mad. And then she go on Facebook and, yeah, because he don't do this, he don't do that, you know, and going hard. Call herself exposing her husband. Y'all are one. That makes you look bad. I don't even know why a lot of Akio don't understand this. Listen, women, when you air out your husband, he's a y'all are a reflection of, you are the reflection of your husband. You are the extension of your husband. That's the best way to put that. So when you go and you trying to shame your husband, that's gonna make you look bad. I'm not talking about abuse, okay? I'm not talking about extreme situations where someone's life is in danger or nothing like that. I'm talking about what I be seeing the majority of the time is, we done got in an argument. We done had these disagreements, you know. Maybe it's over the children. Maybe it's over something else. Maybe it's over money. And so now I'm going to go hard. I'm going to air him out. I'm going to call him out his name. Like, wives, y'all got to understand when you go out and about, let's go down to the awakening. Let's go down to the set apart wives in the covenant. The wives of Yahuwah. Your conduct is the way you move, even when your husband is not around, is going to be a reflection of your husband. So you should always have it in your heart. You should always have. That's why when it talks about the Proverbs 31 woman, it talks about how his heart, he trusts in her. She does him through, but not raw. When you're conducting yourself, when you're moving around in the public, when you're moving and functioning, you want to always keep in mind that you are an extension of your husband, to where you don't do anything to shame your husband. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't speak on personal things that you and your husband are going through if you know your husband wouldn't want you to bring that out. You shouldn't go to your mom, your dad, your grandma, airing out all your problems that y'all have because you venting to them about how your husband get on your nerves. He always be leaving the toilet seat up. Man, I'm tired of he be leaving his drawers on the ground. I'm tired of him leaving his drawers. I'm just, oh man, and you airing all this out.
Little brown marks in him.
You know what I'm saying? You telling your mama this stuff. And I'm talking about tarnishing your husband's name to your family. and then wondering why when your husband come to the family events, to your side of the family, they don't like him. It's because of you. You done got over it. You went venting to your mama because y'all had got in an argument. You was mad at him at the time, but you done got over it. Now you cool with your husband. Your mama and them ain't in love with him. They ain't get over that. Right. Now they don't like him because of you. And you gotta we gotta get, that's Babylonian, y'all. That's some real Housewives of Atlanta stuff, basketball wives stuff. To have pride and shame in your husband whenever he makes a mistake or does something wrong. As the wife, if your husband makes a mistake or does something wrong, you should be covering him in that. Mm-hmm. You should be doing what you can to cover him. And do you know that Abigail had a wicked husband and she still covered him in his wickedness? A foolish husband. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why Yahuwah blessed her. Or, it's probably many other reasons other than that, but I mean, that's one of the attributes that, that made her so righteous to where Yahuwah blessed her to be under the king covering, because she had a foolish husband, but she submitted and she did what she could to cover him. That's what a righteous Isha is going to do. Not exposed, but to cover. So much so to where the husband's heart safely trusts in her. I'm telling y'all, young daughters who want to get married, who y'all, I'm telling y'all, that's the mindset y'all want to have. That's if y'all, y'all want people to be pursuing y'all. If they see that you on that mode, they see they can trust you. They can trust you with their secrets. They can confide in you, and they don't got to worry about you airing them out every time once you get angry. That you get so emotional that you can't really control your emotions. You start airing out whatever his faults are. And they know they can confide in you. They're gonna be trying to pursue you for marriage.
Major facts.
But told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. Did y'all have anything else?
Con, I just wanted to want to go just a little bit deeper on what you was just saying there, because it just clicked that your Isha has your name on her, and it's the importance. Wait, did I say that right? Your Isha has your name on her. Mm-hmm. Okay, the importance of that, even what you said, that is absolutely one of the most important things. But even when you think about the family dynamic, because from the Hebraic culture, it was always a patriarch. The Melakim gave us this understanding of the word patriarch. It's the many becoming the one man. Mm-hmm. So the Isha, the children, they're all going to become that man. But see, here's the thing, even with Solomon, you could tell Bathsheba was somebody who David delighted in. And I bet you you can see glimpses of it, and maybe we can do like I don't know, some kind of a marriage talk later, but we can really see the glimpses of how Thub of Isha Bathsheba was, one, by how David responded to Bathsheba on his deathbed. And then two, how Solomon spoke about David. Because think about it, David was always busy. David was out fighting, he was out running a kingdom, he had all these other things going on. But the way that Solomon knew David was through his mom Bathsheba. How? Because Bathsheba had the name of David on her and she wore it well. Man. So Solomon became the image and in the likeness of his father to some extent. Now, I mean, really, honestly, when you look, they Granddaddy David threw, say threw. But Solomon got the same love for women that Granddaddy David had. The biggest difference is Solomon didn't run into an Abigail. Because Abigail, like what you was just saying, she actually kept David from committing sin against the Most High. When Nabal was tripping with his name, When Nabal said, "Who is the name of David?" He ain't say, I ain't quoting him, but that's what he said. Who is David? That's basically, man, I don't know your name. What's your name? Who is
Man.
David to me? David's like, oh, you about to play? You gonna put some respect on my name?
Ooh.
Maybe that's a little fluke for you know. But yeah, he was like, nah, I'm gonna fix this. You don't know who I am? Don't worry. Anybody who stand up and pee, they gonna be dead by Boker. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna show you who David is. But Abigail was there as this stopgap. Solomon didn't run into no Abigail. Solomon went wild. So I only say that because Solomon learned the ways of his father, but he learned them from having a righteous mother, a mother who had the name of her Ish on her, and she wore it to the point to where Solomon became this duplication. You can look at David's other children; they ain't do too well. They ain't do too well.
Man, for real.
So it does make you wonder about, man, who was their mama? What was their mama up to? But Bathsheba was a Thub Isha. Um, so that's one of the importance of wearing the name as a your Isha wearing your name correctly, because your children will learn your essence from your Isha. As much as I am with my children, let me tell you something. Hadassah is the one that they go to. They learn my nature, my character, my authority, my name from her teachings of me. Now I know that sounds weird because you're like, she be out there teaching what? Nah, it ain't nothing weird. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation. What I mean by her teachings of me is she says, nah, this is what your dad like. No, your Abba want it this way. He don't want y'all playing with cars in the living room. He don't want y'all jumping off the top bed. No, y'all need to make y'all bed in the boker. Hey, no, when you get up, put your dishes up. She teaches the culture because she's the culture keeper. But that's the importance of wearing the name the correct way. Because if you got a Ish and you don't have his name on you the right way, not only see you think what you doing is tearing down your Ish. I'm gonna fix him. I'm gonna solve him. You know what? I'm gonna talk bad about him when he ain't here. Nah, you tearing your children down. Yeah, that's why your daddy ain't nothing.
Man.
All of a sudden, you got a son who worthless. Yeah, your daddy always out there doing this. He don't treat me good at all. Now you got a daughter that's a harlot. Yeah. And it's always nuances. There's caveats, and I know the remixes be crazy, like the Melakim said. But within the context, I'm speaking about when you have a Thub Ish. He might not be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody gonna get it right all the time. But when you really working through this thing and you a Thub Isha, I got a Thub Isha. That's how I can say. That's why I can say this, because I see it from experience. But when you got a Thub Isha, she's gonna make sure that your name is upheld in your house. Now all of a sudden you building a kingdom. Now there's order. Now there's structure. Con. Yeah. Con. Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna say that it just really speaks to the power that the Isha has, really, to make or break her house, because the disposition of the Isha toward the Ish really shapes the perspective of the children toward their father and the perspective of others around them toward the Ish, towards that whole house. So she can, with her words, just by how she moves with her Ish, she can build up or she can tear down her own house. So it just from one one moment of emotion, her words, can really move toward tainting that name. We just talked about the name in the beginning of the call, like the way that you move really is just like because it's just like being a bot, right? As a bot, you're a sign of the house, and so you're learning to do that as a daughter. And then when you move into being an Isha, like you have to understand that you represent that house. So when you talk a certain way, you talking down towards your husband, about your husband, you're talking down about yourself because you're one. So I think that was kind of the understanding that Abigail had, is that, this is, I'm still under his covering, so if I'm down talking him, then that reflects on me as well. And so, yes, it just goes to show the power behind it, the power behind your disposition, because it don't even have to be with words. It don't even. That's major right there.
It don't even have to be with words. You know, it's just even the disposition towards your ish. The children, they pick up on that. Other people pick up on that. But it's even affects the husband, you know, and the way that like I was saying before, because or it even affects the husband in the way that he moves with you, because you are supposed to be a safe place for him. And so if he can't trust you to be vulnerable, if he can't trust you to really guard and keep your home with your words, then that's not going to be, he's not going to have a place.
Right.
You know, he's not going to have a pillar of rest. He's not going to have a safe space, which
No
is what he's
shalom.
supposed to be. Yeah, no shalom. Yeah, and so what does it say? You know, better to be on the corner of a roof
Then in the house with a
than
contentious
in the
woman.
house with a
Man.
contentious woman. So it's real. It just really goes to show you, you know, the power that you have, you know, with your disposition as an Isha, and the influence that you have on everybody around you.
All because you have that man's name on you.
That's it. That's it. Yep.
Yeah, that's
You
powerful.
are the marketing executive, whether you want to be or not.
That's real though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's real, because that was in Proverbs 31. It says that she does the business, the flax. She goes and she sells the land, and you know, it's it's like she's the marketing CEO
She's the COO. She's the chief operating officer.
That's
and
it.
She's the CEO. So he casts the vision, but you know, she's the one that helps to carry that out. And in order to do that, she has the connections. I see the picture in my mind. It's like she has the influence in the way that she moves, you know, and the way that she moves can shape the way that everybody else sees the house as a whole. And so, and yeah, that's powerful.
Shout out to the late MIDRAShes. She be available.
Hallelujah. Praise you. Praise you. Did y'all have anything else?
No, sir. I'm through. You through?
Yes, sir, I'm through.
All right, y'all. Told out to Yahuwah and Yahusha. We're gonna go ahead and close with prayer. Let's see what y'all got here. We got Ivan Juan Little said name equals reputation. Through reputation, through name. Khan. That's it. That's it. Bakir Sargon said the answer was busy, man, for real. For real. Kimberly Lamar Richardson said, Khan, I put peppermint oil on my skin to keep mosquitoes and ants off me. Just putting that out there. Nah, you right on it. We just didn't have none. We just didn't have none with us at the time. But yeah, that peppermint oil is gonna be the best thing for stuff like that. Yeah, we just had, man. I knew people had lotion, you know, so I was like, man, somebody got some lotion. But yeah, man. I've been one little quote in Matthew 13:57, Yahoo 13:57 says, and they were offended in him. But Yahusha said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. Man, that's real. That's real. Yeah, there's a lot I can say on that, but we'll keep it moving. Ivan Juan Little said people are capable of making mistakes. Oh, yeah, that was referring, when it talks about that balance of not being overly righteous, yeah. Natanya Smith said, now how we going to be the light if we don't sit at the table sometimes with those nations? Yeah. That's real. And she said he felt disrespected. His name was on the line. You're not going to say I look feminine. Oh, yeah, Shannon Sharp. Man, look here. There is a balance, man. Look here. You going flying and meeting people? Nah, man. Nah. Yahuwah's child and Yahusha's followers, quoted Psalm 144, verse 10, said, it is he that giveth salvation unto kings, who delivereth David his servant from the hurtful sword. Man, she said, I was sent there this boker. Man, yeah, that's a through confirmation right there. Yahuwah's child said, and Yahushua's followers said, salvation unto who? Kings. Khan. Yeah. Yeah, that's showing the significance of the Melachim, of the kings of Yasharel. But all praise to Yahuwah. Very, very through, y'all. Very, very through. So we're gonna go ahead and close with prayer. Let's get Yetzar. You can go ahead and close us out. That'll be through. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Oh, she getting it right now. Oh, praise to the Most High. Let's see. What y'all about to you?
Verse 2. Toda Rabba Zabayahun. Olam Hudim Zabayahun. Olam Hudim Adonai Yahusha. Zabayahun, we come humbly before you, Father, to uplift your name in gratitude, Zabayahun. Toda Rabba for your word that has gone forth, Father. I pray, Zabayahun. May it rest in us, Zabayahun. Let it be a fertile soul, Father. Let it produce through fruits, Zabayahun. Oh, Toda Rabba Zabayahun. I pray, Father, may you keep the Mishpachah, Father. As they go, Father, and rest, I pray, Father, may they have sweet sleep in you, Yahusha. I pray, Father, may you keep them, Father, may you guide them as they rest in you, O Tabiru. Lord, I Rabbi, Father, that you are good and your mercy endure forever. Lord, I Rabbi, Father, for your words, Tabiru, for your word, Father, and understanding, Father. Oh, Father, of Shema and what it means to have function and purpose in you, Yahusha. Oh, Father, I praise you. Oh, Father, may you keep and guide your people, God, may you lead them and continue to guide them, Father. We pray all these things in Yahushua Mashiach's name. Hallelujah.
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 Much Ahava, y'all. Most High willing, we do this again next week. Lakam la shalom. Lakam la shalom.